we going to stop young people from, I mean, they rely on their phones, we all rely on mobile phones. Can we say to councils, we're not saying get rid of mobile phones, but can we bring the levels down? I mean, I feel we've got to start little by little, because just to say no Wi-Fi anywhere, no phones, that I feel is drawing a blank.
Parents can hardwire their children's gadgets at home. You can hardwire things.
Is already pushing the movement to stop children under the age of 13 using their technology throughout the day. And even in Cyprus as well, they're doing educational videos for parents and for children to saying don't give your children that are under 14 technology, as this is damaging now for their health and for their cognitive, their brains and stuff like this.
It's just difficult because young people, we want to get them on board. I mean, we want to get the Extinction Rebellion lot on this as well.
I've tried.
No, we
We've
don't.
got to get them.
No.
How are we going to get them?
I'm banned from their local meetings in my local area because I tried. I mean, we had, this is the thing, trying to get the young on board, and I've tried to do this. Now, I think, the health argument, I've got to say, is the number one argument here that we've got to stress. I think we start off with people who know nothing. We've got to present the documented evidence and say, look, this is really serious. If we say, okay, and I think, people who stop using their phones, that's fine, that's their personal choice. I think it's a big ask to say everybody has to stop, give up their phones tomorrow. It's going to be extremely difficult. But if we show the evidence of cancer clusters, of all the health effects that are happening, insects, I didn't mention that. We've had about a 70-80% decline in the insect population over the last 20 years. And of course, bees are our pollinators. And without bees, we're not going to be able to pollinate our plants. And we're seeing trees being cut down.
And burned.
And
by the radiation, not just cut down but burned.
So the trees, of course, the signals, electromagnetic fields, trees are blocking microwaves, but they're also being harmed by microwaves. And I travelled up to Gateshead, and not only did I meet children that were experiencing nosebleeds, increase in strokes and brain tumours up north, and it's happening in the cities where they're rolling this out, but the cutting down of trees all over the country. And I don't believe it's all due to ash dieback.
No.
We've got companies, telecommunications companies, that are involved in the cutting down of our trees, and they've cut down over 100,000 trees now across the country. And I think this is absolutely disgusting and something that we really have to address. And I think this is something that people can go to their Extinction Rebellion groups and say, look, okay, you care about the environment, I care about the environment. We need you to get on board with stopping the cutting down of trees. Now, Extinction Rebellion are saying, okay, we have till 2030. The argument we have with 5G is we don't have until 2030. We have literally, maybe a year or two, I would say, with what we're looking at, because we cut down all the trees. We're going to have major problems with air pollution from cars, and also we're just going to be a lot more vulnerable to this technology. And of course it's going to affect our brains. We're going to see a massive collapse in the health of the population.
So what happened to the petition that the doctors of St Thomas's sent to Parliament to have all these EMFs properly regulated and investigated independently? They sent a petition from the doctors of St Thomas's. We haven't heard a thing as to what came out of it. There have been no tests for safety since the 1990s, I think. I may be wrong, but I think it's the 1990s. This is children, this is us, this is plants, this is insects. It's a wraparound, silent, invisible, tasteless death. You can't hear it, but it's there. And it's blocking in a whole lot of pollution as well. Birds.
Massive decrease. I went to Trafalgar Square recently. Massive decline in birds, pigeons. You just don't see them. And up north, I went there as well. I thought, before I'd ever went to Gateshead, I just thought, I don't know if this is true or not. So I just decided to go up. And I went to the court cases and I met residents in the local area. There are a lot of people who are sick. There are a lot of people who are ill. And I think another really important way to get the message across, when you're engaging with people who think, 5G is not a problem, it's a conspiracy, just say, look, I'm relaying this information to you because I care. I care about what's happening to our planet. Here's the documented evidence. You know, I mean, I have a folder with all of this evidence in. I just recommend everybody put their own folder together with all of this information and just engage people on that level. Because a lot of people are just not up to the level yet on 5G. You know, they don't see the danger, they don't see the threat. And I think we really need to engage with people that way and just try and wake them up with the evidence.
I think it's money, chasing money. It's our public money
Will you say that
being
social
spent.
media like Facebook
Crazy.
are a useful way of spreading the word, or is it too simply censored?
Well, yeah, use social media. I think, you know, but we mustn't rely on it 100%. And there is censorship, of course, in social media, and there have been people putting posts out about 5G. They're coming off the wall or being censored. Most of my material, I believe, is not being censored. Some of my YouTubes, the view count is stopping. But I think, yes, we have to use Twitter, Facebook, learn how to use social media effectively. I think that's really important. Some people are using social media. I've had a few people say to me, you put out about too many posts in one day, you can then face censorship. But if you put 2 or 3 very powerful posts out and share those, then I think you're more likely to reach people. And just get people in your local area to join the groups, but also have local meetups. But I think this is something that if we depend completely on these larger platforms like Facebook that are more open to censorship, it can all be shut down very easily. So we need to start our local groups.
Another aspect related to the green movement should be the huge carbon footprint of these technologies of data storage.
Exactly.
Exponentially increasing. The green movement should be concerned about this, as well as, of course, the effect on the ozone layer and the atmosphere, global warming of the launch of 50,000 rockets. This has a huge carbon footprint that should be considered as well.
You mean the satellites?
Satellites,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think the heating, you know, you're seeing a lot of these antennas and 5G going up in cities. That is causing a heating of the air. So of course temperatures are being, higher temperatures are getting recorded in these areas where they're using microwaves. But I think, you know, any argument that you can use to get someone on board, that's fine. You know, I mean, I'm not going to discuss the CO2 issue today, but I think whatever argument you can use to win people over, great. And I think that's extremely important. But I think, yeah, that and the cutting down of trees, that's something I've used to get people who are involved in the green movement on board. But I think we are facing a real battle here because, of course, we don't have the mainstream media on our side yet. We do have sympathetic voices, yes.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to address, and I think one of the reasons when people talk about conspiracies, they say the logic behind that, people denying the effects of 5G, is because their logic says, well, the people who are creating this, it's going to affect them. So what would your response be as to what their motives are for creating 5G in the first place?
Yeah, well, I believe, I mean, you look at some of the people rolling out, you look at the telecommunications companies, you look at some of the heads of councils, you're asking, sorry, about the motivation on people who are rolling out 5G and why would they roll it out? I'll repeat the question.
Yes, because they say their logic is, well, if 5G is so harmful, isn't it going to affect the very people that are creating it?
Right.
And this creates a
Okay.
barrier to people to understand the danger of 5G.
Sure, yeah.
So I think if we have a response for that, that would be very
Yeah.
powerful.
So why are the people rolling it out not concerned about the effects of it? And unfortunately, I believe part of it's due to ego, that some of these people are extremely egotistical and don't care about the evidence of damage from 5G and microwave radiation. And then you also have to look at the money, the 6-figure salaries some of these people are on.
They're probably
And for as long as they're able to keep earning money and continue to live, and for now they might be in a healthy state, they don't have the humility to actually look at these problems. And this is why.
But then they're going to die as well.
Okay.
So what's the point?
Sorry.
But then they'll die as well. So
Well, yeah, but unfortunately there are some people who don't have a conscience.
No, I think it's scary.
some people who don't have a conscience.
The thing is, this is a United Nations pushing movement as well for global reasons, and this rolls in with Agenda 21 and smart cities. This is about surveillance and control, because then the biggest industry at the minute now is data collection and data control.
Yeah.
When the internet thing rolls out, and then your diaper, your kitchen, your fridge has got everything, this is all going to be monitored by obviously surveillance, and then it's going to be this is all going to be relayed back into the system. But the people that are pushing it are on a higher table, and it's all about social engineering and
But what's
control.
the logic of that if they're
But
creating a
there's his power.
So sorry, I'd just like to repeat your point about data gathering. That's a really important point. And about the social credit system. And of course, I mentioned in some of my talks about the telecommunications funding going into the UN. And of course, Claire Edwards spoke out against the head of the UN and the Secretary General, and stated that, okay, they've got Wi-Fi boosters on the ceiling, even in the main hall of the UN, and people are getting exposed, and she got sick and had to take early retirement because of that. And of course, the Secretary General has a background as an electrical engineer, and he set up a digital task force to help to roll out 5G. So this is very serious. And of course, the UN, not only the UN, which of course is backing a lot of this, and the World Health Organization, are completely ignoring the appeals. And this is something we have to address, and we really need to speak. Again, it's step by step. So I think at first you speak about the health concerns, and then with your councils about these other agendas that are going on. And I think that's extremely important. And we can't just dismiss. I would just encourage people to keep an open mind on everything, because there's a lot going on here. And to dismiss something as conspiracy is, I think, very arrogant. And we have to keep an open mind. My website is www.5gawareness.com. Children are the most vulnerable generation of all, and if you have wireless devices in your home, if you have wireless baby monitors, please get rid of them tomorrow, because children are affected far more by radio frequencies. And I've got a friend of mine who's got children, and they don't use wireless devices, they don't use iPads. They're doing incredibly well in their school. And you know, a lot of my friends, they limit their friends, you know, staying with Kirsty at the moment, you know, she limits her children's use. And this is the way to go. We really have to protect the kids. But I just want to thank everybody for turning up today. This is really important, and you have come today and represented yourself and your concerns about 5G. And we're all in this fight together. And I think it's really important not to have any fear, because we have power in numbers, and our numbers are growing. So thank you again.
Thanks, John.
Stop 5G! Stop 5G! Stop 5G! Stop 5G! Stop 5G! Stop 5G! Stop 5G!
5G's killing you! What are you going to do?
Brussels and Rome say no! Why can't we? Stop 5G! Brussels and Rome say no! Why can't we? Stop 5G! Brussels and Rome say no! Why can't we? Stop 5G! Brussels and Rome say no! Why can't we? Stop 5G! Wake up, London! Please look into 5G! 5G stands for 5th generation technology. This includes the rollout of 1G, more 2G, more 3G. Brussels and Rome have banned 5G on health grounds. Look into 5G is one of the most important things that the mass media is not talking about. 5G is a weapon system which they're rolling out on your streets. Look into 5G and LED street lights. Look into electric cars, smart meters. They're cutting down over 100,000 trees up and down the country to make way for 5G transmissions. 5G can 3D map your homes. It's a military grade frequency that can be used to harm. It can be used to cause organ damage, They've tested 5G in the Soviet Union and Vienna, and it's causing untold, countless harm to not only humans, but plants, animals, all living things across the country. We've seen an 80% decline in insects over the last 20 years. Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G? Brussels and Rome say no. Why can't we stop 5G?